Hi guys, first of all, since this is my first video of 2023, I wanted to wish a happy new year to all of you. I hope your holidays were great. As you can see, I'm back with a new video that is supposed to be a part 2 of a video I posted a while ago, titled K-pop Truths You Are Too Afraid to Admit. It's been a while since the video came out and there are many more truths that K-pop stans are still too afraid to admit. This is what I'm gonna discuss in today's video. Let me know your thoughts. Now let's begin. You treat adults like little kids but you expect idols who are kids to act like adults. I'll never forget when some of you made Jungkook dress like a baby at a fan sign, and how you kept infantilizing him throughout the years even if he is a grown-ass man. He's not the only example of adult you all infantilized though. It happens so frequently and it's not something you should be doing. But what's even worse is that you treat these adults like kids while forgetting who the real kids are. And if these kids act their age, then you all bully them. I've lost count of how many times you called idols like IVE's One Young and Isa cringy. But for fuck's sake, you've been calling One Young cringy since she was 14 and you're now dragging Isa for acting her age when she's only 15. People were bullying her because she cried when IVE won Song of the Year at an end of the year show. And I'm sorry, but seeing a 15-year-old crying when winning such an award should not be surprising at all. Grown-ass male idols cry when winning smaller awards and you're like, oh my god, how cute, he's so precious. But God forbid a 15-year-old gets emotional on stage when winning fucking Song of the Year. Groups that don't have a signature sound or image will never have the success and longevity as groups that do. Try to think about the biggest K-pop groups for each generation. You'll definitely see that the most relevant ones have a very clear concept and sound that will come to mind immediately as soon as you think of them. Besides a few exceptions, there is no big name in K-pop that doesn't have a specific identity and a specific style of music. Those groups that tend to switch concept and sound at every comeback never make it that big. Of course, they might drop a song that goes viral and they might have a discrete amount of success, but they will never be among the big names of K-pop. This is because having a clearly defined identity is so important when it comes to being remembered, and if you don't manage to have a strong branding, people are just gonna forget you. Most people's concern about minors is only performative. We all know about minors in K-pop and how controversial this whole thing is. And this is not about whether you agree or disagree with them debuting. This is about the fact that tons of people claim minors in K-pop are fragile and should be protected. But then they're the same people that literally bully these minors for everything. Let's think about the Garam situation. It doesn't matter who you try to blame, either the company or those who spread the rumor. At the end of the day you were the ones who bullied her. You bullied her so bad despite her being so young. Another example could be Jiwoo from NMIXX, or Liz from IVE, who you fat-shamed for gaining weight, forgetting that they were just teenagers and that it's normal for someone their age to lose and gain weight. And these are only a few examples. I don't give a damn that you write essays on Twitter about how harsh the industry is, or about how minors should be defended, because then you're the same people who attack them. And I know some of you are gonna say that maybe those are not the same people, but even if they're not, what's sure is that those people are nowhere to be seen the moment these minors get attacked. You write a hit tweet just for the sake of gaining likes, but then you stay silent the moment everyone gangs up on these minors. Min Heejin just tried to be edgy so bad with the OMG MV. This concept didn't address mental health in a sensitive or realistic way that could resonate with people who have mental health problems. It was just Min Heejin trying to be quirky. Oh, look at how my girl group is breaking the standard and has a mental ward concept. So original, so edgy. Like no, fuck off. I do not suffer from mental health problems, but I can imagine some people that do might feel triggered and might feel like this concept is just ridiculing mental illnesses. Also, the last part rubbed me the wrong way. There's a part where someone writes a post criticizing the MV, and Minji then tells them to stop and brings them back to the hospital, implying that those who disagree with the concept are crazy and deserve to be in a mental ward. You could argue that Minji was stopping a hater from hating on the girls, but the comment didn't hate on the girls or criticize them. It criticized the creative direction, so Min Heejin herself. Therefore it feels like something that she specifically wanted to include in the MV to defend herself, labeling as crazy all of those people who disagree with what she does. She basically used the girls as a shield to defend herself from criticism. And all in all, this whole psychiatric ward setting was not a good choice. Like I said, it could have triggered people who suffer from mental health conditions and it just doesn't seem like the best concept for a group full of young girls like New Jeans. K-pop stans always switch up on everything when it's about One Young. Y'all love to hate on her. You love it so much, don't you? For example, when she ate the strawberry with 2 hands y'all called her a pick-me and you said she was cringe. Some people even sent her death threats. But when those 2 girl group members ate the strawberry mocking One Young, and dives were pissed. Y'all were like, oh my god, you should chill, it's just a strawberry. But it clearly wasn't just a strawberry when it came to Wonyoung, because you dragged her as if she killed your entire family. But God forbid Wonyoung stans got mad at people for mocking her, because you would say these stans were overreacting. And yes, some dives were overreacting, but let's not pretend like you all didn't overreact when Wonyoung did it. Dives were wrong for sending hate to those two girls. That was pretty unnecessary and wrong. But it's funny seeing how you all turned into Alice stans and defended those girls, yet you were nowhere to be found when it was time to defend Wonyoung. Like I said, hating on those girls was unjustifiable and those who did it should honestly fuck off. But it's so crazy how Wonyoung ate a freaking strawberry and you all treated her like a murderer. But when other idols did it, you all acted normal about it, because it was in fact not a big deal, yet you made it a very big deal when it was about Wonyoung. You don't have to pretend you support everyone equally. I always hear so many K-pop stans say, I support every member equally, everyone is my bias, and things like that, which is fine, if it wasn't for the fact that most of the time it's not true. The truth is, you don't support every member equally, and that's okay because everyone has their biases. People love to say they care about everyone equally to sound like better fans compared to those who have a bias, and that's so stupid, especially because then it's evident that you don't really care about everyone the same. For example, when different members of a group have their solo activities and their solo music, some of you only actively support one or two of them, but not everyone, which is perfectly fine because of course you're gonna be more invested in your bias or the member whose music you prefer. But please don't pretend you are superior to other stans because everyone is your bias, cause that's bullshit. A similar thing happens with survival show groups that then disband and all of the members go their separate ways, redebuting as soloists or in other groups. After the disbandment, most people will actively stan and keep up with their favorite members, not with everyone equally. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's ridiculous when K-pop stans say things like, oh but I love everybody the same and support everyone equally. No honey, most of the time that's not true at all, and you all just say it to try and discredit other stans and to sound like you're a realer fan. You all love to turn mistreatment and hate into a competition. K-pop stans are always like, my faves are more mistreated than yours and they get more hate. And I'm like, who the hell cares? This is not a competition. When it comes to hate and mistreatment, we should be having serious conversations instead of turning it into some sort of competition. My faves get more hate than yours, so they're more worthy of their success. My faves are more mistreated while your faves have it easy, so they don't deserve what they have. Like, please shut up. Who cares about who is more hated or more mistreated? That's not the point. The point is literally that these poor idols get mistreated by their own companies and get hated on by shitty people. That's the fucking point. People are not Bahi antis just because they call out Bahi's toxic solo stans. I think that everybody, besides the haters themselves, agrees that OTA Keplians who hate Bahi are awful. But the moment someone brings up the fact that her toxic solo stans are fucking awful too, people get so triggered and treat you as if you were a Bahi anti, and I'm sick and tired. We should be free to call out all of the hate some of her toxic stans have been throwing at the other girls. For example, how they hate Dahyun and how they cyberbullied her mom, or how they tried to make people believe Yujin and Xiaodong were bullying Bahi. These things are shitty as hell, just as shitty as what Bahi haters say against her. Both Bahi haters and Bahi's toxic stans are bad, but just because she receives hate it doesn't mean her fans are justified to shit on the other girls, and when they do, they deserve to be called out just as much as Bahi haters. Most K-pop stans are unable to think with their own heads. Most of you hear something from other stans and you repeat it without even bothering to check if it's true. You hear somebody calling an idol a pick-me and you roll with it. You see some people claiming someone is untalented and you also believe it even if you never checked them out. People say a group has a bad discography and you're just like, yeah, I guess they have bad music, even if maybe you just listen to one song. These are just examples, but it happens all the time. When you hear something being said about a group or an artist, the first thing you should do is see for yourself, because fun fact, every person can have a different opinion on the same matter, and just because some people have a certain opinion, it doesn't mean you have to think the same, but you're of course gonna end up having the same opinion as them if you don't go and look at things with your own eyes. Nowadays people are always stuck in their own echo chambers. People will make you believe something about an idol and you will believe it even if it's not true. You will believe it because somebody telling you what to think is easier than formulating your own opinion. Because formulating your own opinion might take time, and nobody wants to bother, so it's easier to just follow what most people are saying and blatantly believe their false narratives. Okay everyone, these were some truths that I think K-pop stans are still too afraid to admit. Feel free to tell me all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Thank you for watching till the end. Bye besties.